Hello and welcome back to another episode of my show. I am your host, Ashriel Moore, the ambassador of the African Diaspora Collective to Israel. As you could clearly see, obviously this time I am not in the office, so I'll take this opportunity to talk about something that is not necessarily on our topic. We usually discuss the various communities of African ancestry here in Israel, and I gave you kind of a deep dive into them. But this time I want to talk about something else. I want to talk about war. And the reason why I want to talk about war is because we're looking all throughout the world. We see that there are wars and there are rumors of wars. But specifically here in Israel, Israel has been in war with Hamas since October 7th, 2023. And so as a result of that, obviously, there have been a lot of destruction. There have been a lot of unnecessary deaths. And, it seems to us, obviously, that it's very heartbreaking, because it is heartbreaking to us. But there are people, corporations, organizations, institutions that are profiting from this condition, and they want these type of things to continue. You couldn't believe it, but yes, there are organizations and companies and institutions that would like to and that push for wars to continue. We'll start at the top. We'll start with the military industrial complex, which obviously are responsible for the production of the weaponry that is being used in these wars. And they continue to upgrade their weapons, to continue to provide the newest, the most advanced technology. And they need somebody or some organizations, some companies, some militaries, some countries to sell this new weaponry to. And if they don't have anybody to sell it to, then obviously they're just going to have it in the shed, this waiting. But I don't believe that obviously they develop all this weaponry just for it to be sitting on the side for no reason. They already have contracts before they produce. They produce obviously in accordance with what they know that they'll be able to sell. And most times they don't have enough, so they need to continue to provide more. And so it's in their best interest that wars continue, because the more wars continue, then the more there is a requirement and necessity for more weaponry. The more there's requirement for more weaponry, the more profits they're making. So that's in their best interest, obviously, to continue to push for there to be continued war. Then secondly, you have those who are the investors in their stocks, right? So you have the companies, but then you have the companies that are shared publicly on the stock market. And so you have hedge funds, and you have mutual funds, and you have private investors who are investing millions and probably hundreds of millions of dollars into these stocks. And so it's in their best interest, obviously, that these companies continue to be profitable, because then that makes them profitable. And obviously that's just a continuation. So they become profitable because these organizations or these companies are profitable, and the companies are profitable because there is continual war, and so they have the capacity to continue to provide weaponry at a very high level to these warring parties. Then you have the governments. Obviously, the governments take advantage of these type of situations, first of all, to cause everybody to rally around the flag. So now this is a very patriotic time, so everybody is kind of getting behind the government. And so most times the government's popularity increases. And so while the government's popularity is increasing, then obviously the government takes this opportunity to be able to put now the state in wartime. And when the state is in wartime, then there are laws and legislations that they're able to pass under the table when nobody's really paying attention to these things, because they're being passed as resolutions dealing with specifically the war and what's taking place there. And most times it causes people also within the country, especially if there's internal turmoil, to kind of look away from what's really taking place internally. And so the more the war continues, the less they have to deal with the domestic issues. And so they take advantage of that. And most times they want the wars to actually continue. Then you have the cyber and the security organizations, right? That now that you're in a state of war, you need to keep some type of surveillance on your enemies. You need to have a higher level of security, of cyber security, to prevent you and your country from being hacked online. And so now these cybersecurity and these technological organizations and companies step right in and say, okay, I'm going to handle this for you to make sure that the back end is cool. So you won't have to worry about that. You know what's taking place at all times with your enemy. And we're going to provide to you, continue to increase now the technological advances so that you could be able to keep a very close eye on what's taking place on the other side, because obviously in order for you to know how to respond or to operate, you would need to have some intel. And so they provide the infrastructure and the tools for you to be able to receive that intel. Then you have these mercenary organizations that provide mercenaries to be able to fight on either side or whatever. And these companies, I mean, they get these large governmental contracts, little to no oversight or accountability. They really do whatever it is they want to do. And so they want this because now they have the manpower. They're just ready. They're just waiting on the queue to distribute that manpower, to provide that manpower to these warring powers. Obviously, for these people to join on the fight, and it's not even their fight. But they have no problem with getting, one, because they're going to be getting paid for fighting, but number two, because their companies now are going to be receiving a hefty paycheck for providing, the workers, quote unquote. I mean, it's like a company is providing workers who are working as construction people, or you have companies that are providing workers. I don't know, they're basically like an HR company. Right? Like an HR company that's providing workers for war. It's sick. Then also you have the reconstruction and development companies, right? These are the ones also that make a whole bunch of money, because in every war, there's always damage done to infrastructure in the countries, to military infrastructure, to governmental institutions and buildings, to residential institutions and buildings. So they jump right in and say, listen, don't you worry about a thing. We're going to clear the rubble. We're going to reconstruct all of these buildings, all of the infrastructure, everything that was hurt and harmed in the war. Leave it to us. We'll handle everything. You just continue fighting. And so you don't even have to worry about that, because they jump in right at the beginning of wars to lock down the contract. Just give us the contracts for just in case. We know something is going to happen, but we want to have these contracts already locked in, so when it does happen, we could be able to jump right in and start operating. I mean, you would. It's sick the way these companies and these people operate. It's sick. You wouldn't believe how evil they are. But this is the chain of operation that is motivating wars. This is what's actually pushing for wars to continue. When you look at all these wars taking place in a whole lot of places in the world, most times they sell you a geopolitical reasoning for these wars, but a lot of times it's way deeper than that. There are a lot of other actors that needs to get paid. And so in order for them to get paid, you have to be at war. And at the expense of who? At the expense of the little person who is being killed, whose homes are being destroyed, whose life is being absolutely devastated for the profit of these big organizations and companies and politicians. And and stockholders. Is really, really sick. But I wanted to just jump in and just touch on that with you today. Thank you so much for being with me. As always, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below if you could relate to any of what I've just shared with you today. And we'll see you on the next episode. Until then, you have a great day.